Today we're talking It Lives Inside. What lives inside? I'd love to know the answer to that question. It speaks to me late at night when I'm sleeping. Yeah, I'm just kidding. It's a toy avocado. This is not for my daughter. It's
for me.
What's up, Flick fans? Welcome back to the channel. Brand new horror movie is in theaters this weekend, but is it scary? Let's do it. Sam, an Indian-American teen, lives in a suburb with her conservative mother and her assimilated father. Her cultural insecurities grow due to her estranged friend, Tamira, who mysteriously carries around an empty mason jar all the time. That's normal. In a moment of anger, Sam breaks this jar and unleashes an ancient Indian demonic force that kidnaps Tamira. This premise is really freaky, and this movie has a PG-13 rating for teen drag use. Brief, strong language, bloody images, terror, violent content, and some things in there that will really freak you out. And I like the fact that they take that rating and they push it to its limits, but I'm also sitting here thinking, why wasn't this movie rated R? What was the justification? I mean, the studio, the people involved, the idea that it's firmly in the genre. What made you decide against that? I guess it's to make more money at the box office, but we've seen lately that that doesn't have as big of an impact as it used to. And on the surface of It Lives Inside, it has the opportunity to do something a little more than just be a horror movie, right? It could also be a social commentary, taking this Indian American, kind of placing her in this situation with very different types of circumstances and this tragic thing that has happened, but nobody else really sees it as tragic. She knows what happens to her friend. No one else seems to want to believe it.
I don't believe you.
Along with this demonic mystery of sorts, Sam's kind of taking her Indian heritage and throwing it out the window for more of an American lifestyle. Her parents do not really like that whatsoever. She also confides in this teacher who inevitably sort of helps her on this journey of discovery, but also this mystery at hand. And there are a lot of people involved in this story, and all of which are giving good performances. I thought the performances here were at times the best part of the film. Betty Gabriel specifically, she's always good, but once again, doing all of the little things necessary to enhance her scenes and sequences. And we talk about the little things. That's where I want to start with It Lives Inside. I have some issues with this story. I have some issues with this pacing, and ultimately, don't want to show my hand here, I was a little disappointed in the final product, but I really want to talk about the visual effects. I think the themes they're dealing with here are solid. They could have tackled that a bit more, especially since they're putting from the producers of Get Out on the poster. You see that and you're like, oh, this could be something more than just a horror film. And I guess it is, but there was a lot left on the table by the end of the film there. But you look at when we see this creature, and I don't want to reveal when or how you see this creature or creatures, but once you get to look upon this demonic entity that feeds on loneliness and isolation, I thought it looked really good. It's not a spoiler. Yeah, there's a demon in the movie. You're going to eventually see the demon, but it withholds a lot of that as you're watching and doesn't reveal it immediately. And I hate when movies do that. They're just like, here's what you're looking at. Here's what you're scared of. So you don't have to be as scared of it anymore because you know what it looks like.
Just shut up, you idiot.
This film doesn't do that, which I really like. And the idea of feeding on loneliness and isolation is really cool, and that means you get some really sweet sequences with our characters, and you're able to see more impressive visual effects. And I'm only talking about the visuals and practical effects when they feel like giving that to us, because the budget's clearly lower, but it doesn't look or feel like it's lower. So attention to detail within this movie was handled well. Big issue I have with It Lives Inside is the choppy editing that just felt a little too choppy as we progress through this movie, and we're cutting to black so often. It almost felt like they were overly relying on that technique. It's like, we've run out of things to do in this scene, so let's just cut to black here. And then a new day begins, and it's fine if they do it this many times in a 2.5 hour movie, but the movie's only 90 minutes. You can only do that so often before a viewer starts to roll their eyes. So, that starts to affect the pacing. When you have a film that's only an hour and 30 minutes, you want it to feel like it's flying by, but I didn't feel that way, and that could be due to that, or it could be due to the fact that the story, it just didn't go as in-depth as it promised it would at the beginning. And the way that Sam encounters this demon, the way this demon shows itself, it feels repetitive. The first couple of times we get it, that's awesome. It's really cool, it's really creepy, and honestly, it's eerie. That's the best type of horror. But when you start to overly rely on the same technique over and over, and you're not really getting any answers to your questions, lots of questions at the beginning, but you're not really getting those answers until later on. But even then, I felt like where this film ended off was just so unsatisfying, just so like, that's what we spent all this time doing all of this for, and giving us a compelling character who's going through a lot behind the scenes, both with this demonic force and with family, losing friends, trying to convince people that what you are saying is actually the truth. I mean, the first time she tries to convince her teacher, Joyce is like, "Wow, what? You're crazy.
What is wrong with you?"
And I would say the same thing. But that was really fascinating, right? But it takes us so long to get there. And then the resolution of it all, not to say this ending was the worst ending I've seen all year, but I was just so drastically disappointed with where we ended off. It tried to be cheeky and clever. It did not come across that way. I wish the film was more willing to embrace what it promised us at the beginning, and really what it was teasing us with in that trailer. The approach at the start is that, and then it slowly turns into a standard horror film with poor pacing and poor editing, and one that didn't scare me all that much. That's the biggest issue with the movie. It's not scary. Certain sequences are eerie. I love what they do with the creature, specifically at the end, but I was never really scared because everything that was supposed to be a surprise or was supposed to affect you in a certain way, it never fully affected me because of some of the execution. So I just wasn't scared while watching this, and that was the most disappointing thing. Before I give you my score, I do want to shout out Megan Suri as Sam. She was fantastic, so I really enjoyed watching her and the cast as a whole. Let me know your thoughts down below. Did this movie scare you? Does it live inside this jar? While the creature design and effects are excellent, the execution of this story comes across as choppy and unnecessarily slow. The conclusion is what ultimately cements it as a disappointment, but it is one that occasionally flashes. I would not say this is a full recommendation to go see in the theater, but if you are interested in the premise and you want to support this great cast, be my guest, go check it out. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'll see you soon.